So in my situation, I've been legitimately sabotaged innumerable times with intent of these people where I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but it's like you can think things correctly about a situation, but you just have a problem getting them out of your mouth. I think that's a normal thing, but it's a lot worse when you're poisoned and it gets to the point where you literally don't have the capability of doing such things. And you'll have to excuse me, I just got up from a nap. But the fact of the matter is when it's that hard to voice your concerns, and you're also led in an unwitting position to you or unbeknownst to you from people that you've entrusted and allowed into your energy in your space to be able to work this way, it makes it that much harder to literally get to the rock solid of like what's happening to you. And so for many years I was dealing with this covert warfare, and then I finally figured it out, and it's really more harsh than what people can believe and wrap their minds around, and literally have that, the gear in their mind turn to literally see that type of truth as for what it is. But by all means, I never had any hatred for my people. They had hatred for me. So bringing up the facts is that even prior to getting my first place or making it through schooling, I've explained how they literally attacked me in school. The last 2 years of my life in regular school, it was just impossible, made impossible by people that just didn't want me to make it through regular school. So I went to get my GED. It was the same thing there. I literally store a guy in my class down who had just been part of a group of 4 people that had clotheslined me, rocked my head from side to side, tried to get me into a trunk. They had guns pulled and everything. And I thought I was fucking dead. I thought I was gonna get shot. So even before making it to the homeless shelter, I think that they had thought that if they got me in this position, which they did, they corralled me. They could have been there to protect me. They could have been there to allow me to get a job, work in my own cognizant effort to be a parent, a part of life in their lives, and move in that fashion. But I think it just got too bad for them in their own capacity of reason, where their guilt was stronger and their protecting their own safety was stronger than having any kind of love for me, because I couldn't see these things being poisoned relentlessly. And now that I can, that's like the hardest part to explain and show people, is just how important it is to take note to that when it's legitimately people that like want to drain you up in a fashion that suggests that they want you in your own condition, seeming your own condition, to take your own life or to delete yourself, which oftentimes people do in certain situations. But I'm not that type of person. I'm not a poisoned up individual. I have my own individuality. I have my own cognizance outside of all the things that they did to me, unbeknownst and unknowing to me, unwittingly to me. And so I think that that's just an important factor with realizing what has been actually happening in my life, where right now it's like they created crime over me, utilizing the state, lying to the state to get me corralled in dispositions inside of my life. And when it goes to that level time and time again, it's like, yeah, sure, I was poisoned up before to push me and kick me around up and down the block as far as that the system is concerned, and as far as the paperwork is concerned, this and that, But when it's unbeknownst to me in that fashion, that's not even suggesting to who I am as a person, or as a man, or as a brother, or as a lover, or as a friend. But that's who these people were literally placating in my life to literally take control over those areas. And because they were taking over those areas inside of my life, it never gave me an outlet to even be able to start doing my own life the way I otherwise would. So, this is 49 out, but it's kind of chilly. Truthfully. Just kind of wanted to get a feel for the weather before I go for a walk for charity. And I'm getting nowhere with the services that are taught to us in school and taught to us as far as the ways and things that should otherwise be. Like your family, your support from your support system should not just vacate and dismiss you simply because of the entrained reality that they left you in. It's called entrapment, and it's called entrainment. Because when they're literally doing things unbeknownst to you in that fashion, you don't have an outlet or a resource to turn to when it's control grids. It's control mechanisms, because you're worth more to these people dead than you are alive, based on things that are unbeknownst to you as well. Much like the identity theft, and they take over your identity to literally be allowing for police to come inside of your space, to not have their body cameras on, going to the side of going to the side of the window, when they pull you over. They're supposed to make sure that you're on that camera, so not only that you can be heard, but that you can be seen. Because if they can, and they do manipulate data, well, that's their whole goal. So, under duress, pulling a person over, knowing far well, it was like, oh, okay, as soon as I'm speaking on these things, he's moving to the side to literally not even catch my words. And it's like, yeah, sure, I have a recording device as well, and I'm recording as well, but the fact of the matter is that, literally, when you're up against that kind of reality, they just fry you. They fry you because you are literally catching on to their crimes over you, and they are crimes against your humanity. It's like the worst and most egregious human rights violations, on top of just those small factors. Because they know that you don't have identity. They know that your identity has been taken over and scripted, and it's probably been scripted for a really, really long time in my case. Like a very long time. Like my whole life. in my situation anyway. But that's why they couldn't get away from their own guilt. And in order to get away from their own guilt, it meant literally taking care of me. That's why there was wordage about, oh, well, good luck paying for his funeral. Don't come to me and ask me for anything. And that's legitimately to suggest that they're not gonna be available for that kind of funding, when they know far the fuck well that that's it's like a switcheroo of the facts, I guess, because they do. And they would have the money, because it's life insurance policy money that they take out. Sometimes they take up to, multiple life insurance policies where they're making like 20 million off your life, or 10 million off of your life. So that's why they're trying to take me out so hard is because they know that they're splitting that money not only there but also with the trust funds that our birth certificate and or our social security number creates when our names in all caps are like put onto the stock exchanges. And that's why we're trying to flip from the financial system of the fiat banking to the quantum banking, quantum finance, QFS, whatever that is, you know. But I mean, I haven't been able to be a part of that because you need a income to start, and I literally have been left like completely in the dust of life, liberty, justice, finances, relationships, romantic life, work life, just relationships with coworkers, friends, just being able to be a lover instead of always having to be a fighter. And when we're literally up against this kind of thing, it's not about turning the other cheek, and it's not about offering our enemies love. And the reason I want to get at that fact is because there's a big conversation that I saw earlier today. I'm not going to say whose page because I don't have the umbrage of saying, or I didn't talk to them first or anything like that, saying like where I found this information or what the conversation was about. But there's also in the Bible that suggests to sell your cloak if you don't have a sword, to sell your cloak and buy one. And the fact of the matter is there is a time for everything. There is a time for war. There is a time for peace. There's a time for love. There's a time for anger. You know, there's a time for everything underneath the sun. And they're trying to just delete the fact that you have the right to literally protect yourself in the spirit of our dear Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And within the spirit that we were supposed to be taken up for each other and with each other, not only in the communities, but in support of one another, because America was supposed to be the land of the free, away from these people that wanted to take over our land, take over our relationships, take over our houses, take over our property, and literally take over our lives, because that's what theft is. I mean, it's legitimately what an identity theft always represented, is making money off of the target who they instigate for these life insurance policies and do the fraud behind the scenes. And legitimately everyone that's been inside of my life in that fashion literally falls under the category of being somebody that would be allowed to think of doing this kind of thing and taking just their jobs descriptions, their character, their mold, their this, that, and everything. Is just legitimately that's what they do. So money is basically king to these people, and it has nothing to do with being the forthright and upright of man, because true love doesn't vacate and dismiss based on the things that they know they are doing. It only vacates and dismisses when it has to deal with that monstrous of a hate crime, and whether or not there's any love at all for the individual. And in my situation, they did not have any love for me at all. And that's precisely why I'm being throttled, shadow banned, getting my accounts hacked left and right. They're basically trying to lace my life inside of my whole reality with this poison in order to poison me up to death. Like literally control the bounce, then hitting it hard. Control the mounts, then hitting it really hard, control the mounts, then hitting it harder, you know. And that's what they were doing with me, is basically throttling me not only within my online availability of being a parent for people out here in the public and being available to myself, but also throttling me in the fashions of what the poisons would do online, offline, finances, jobs, relationships, both in friendships and romantic partners, in order to control my reality to the levels in which they did. So I just want people to be aware of how dark that this stuff really does go. Thanks for being here, and God bless you guys.